Hello, friends. I'm meteorologist Zach Shields in the Fox 7 Weather Center. Can you tell a winter storm is heading for Texas? You don't see this very often. Almost every inch of the state under some sort of winter weather alert. More than half the state under a winter storm warning, including us right here in central Texas. This will start up early on Saturday and last until noon on Sunday. We don't see a lot of these, but when we do, that usually means wintry mix is likely, and we're expecting some ice buildup. It's mainly freezing rain and sleet during that time frame with about 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of ice. That could lead to some spotty, icy roads out there and some localized power outages. And we're gaining confidence on this forecast. We know it's going to be freezing. We know we're going to have enough moisture in place to see some precipitation. We have a pretty good idea what kind of precipitation we're going to have. And also, we know when the worst of that ice will happen late Saturday night. In the meantime, since we're above freezing, no ice worries in the next 24 hours at least. On and off light rain during the day Friday, and then widespread heavier rain. And don't be shocked, you may hear rumbles of thunder tonight. Here comes that Arctic invasion. Temperatures below zero in the heartland. It's on a collision course with this huge area of lower pressure that's going to turn into a monster winter storm. In advance of it, it's going to send in that conveyor belt of moisture. And as that moisture and energy glide over that dome of cold air, it's what we call an overrunning weather pattern. That natural rising motion will lead to lots of clouds and also waves of precipitation. What kind? It all depends on the temperature profile. If the layer of freezing air is very close to the ground and very shallow, it's going to be mainly a freezing rain event. That's rain that freezes on contact. If that layer of freezing air column starts to grow a little bit more, the temperatures are cold enough to support a little bit of sleet. This is what it looks like. We're thinking Saturday morning. We're going to be above freezing from the cloud all the way to the ground, so it's going to be just a cold rain. And then as the day progresses late on Saturday, that column of freezing air starts to increase. Now, we will have a tongue of warm air aloft about a mile up with temperatures in the 50s. And then as that raindrop gets closer to the ground, we're right around freezing. And that's when the rain starts to freeze on contact first on metal objects outdoors. And then it's got to get cold enough, temperatures in the 20s, if we're going to see that ice really build up, not only on our buildings and cars outside, metal objects, but also on the roadways. None of that is going to happen for the rest of your Friday night. On and off light rain before 5, and then tonight while you're sleeping, widespread heavy rain and even a few thunderstorms in advance of that Arctic front. And then behind the front, it's going to dry us out and stabilize things. So late morning, early afternoon, we'll get a break from the precipitation. That's good because we're going to be flirting with the freezing mark. And then when that area of lower pressure gets closer to us and provides that extra lift, that's when we'll get round 2. Round 1, just plain old rain and thunderstorm activity. Tonight, tomorrow morning, round 2 will feature the freezing rain and sleet threat late Saturday night, and then the precipitation wraps up, it looks like, early on Sunday. All 4 models show our rain gauge is getting a workout. 3 out of the 4 show 1 to 2 inches of rain possible. Yeah, you don't see this very often. You're under a winter storm warning. At the same time, a marginal risk for localized flooding from Austin back into the hill country. So it'll start off as rain, and then we could get some measurable ice, especially from the hill country up into North Texas. Travel not advised up that way in the middle of the weekend. And here locally, there's not much ice accumulation south and east of Austin. The prime spot is going to be out across the hill country. That's where I'm really concerned about some slippery spots on the roadway, especially the bridges, overpasses, and maybe some localized power outages out that way. 3 out of the 4 models here in Austin show about 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of ice. That would put it level 1 threat out of 3 when you're talking about ice. So about 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch, something we'll have to monitor very closely. Snow is unlikely. These are the impacts. Moderate risk of icy roads, and then a low to moderate risk of localized power outages, a high risk of freezing weather for everybody. So if we do see this ice buildup, when is it going to happen out across the hill country? Between noon on Saturday and 6 a.m. Sunday, up and down I-35 between 5 in the afternoon Saturday, all the way through 6 a.m. Sunday, and a little bit later start time for eastern counties mid-evening on Saturday. So here's a breakdown the next 3 days. On and off fog and light rain during the day Friday, still mild enough where It's just going to be plain old rain, but it will increase in intensity, especially in the evening hours. And we'll have some wet roads to drive on. And then tomorrow, with that front coming through early on, dropping temperatures, gusty winds, rain during the day mainly, and then changes over to freezing rain late in the afternoon. Then on Sunday, the precipitation wraps up before sunrise. On Sunday, we'll have some lingering issues on the roadways, but we're hoping that with the sun coming out, we may not get above freezing, but with the sun out, it'll melt some of that ice away. We're going to have wind chills, though, Sunday morning in single-digit territory. Not only are we under a winter storm warning, but how about extreme cold warning? That doesn't happen very often across every inch of central Texas. This won't begin until Saturday evening, but will last until noon on Monday. Folks, a lot of us will have a hard freeze for several straight hours. We're talking about freezing weather for 48 to 60 straight hours out across the hill country, 36 to 48 straight hours up and down I-35, and about a day's worth of freezing weather across our eastern counties. If the cold air doesn't get you, the wind will. Sunday morning, wind chills in single-digit territory, still in the teens Sunday afternoon. That's with the sun out. And then by the time you wake up Monday morning, some spots in the hill country, wind chills below 0. This is a perfect time to download our free Fox 7 WAP to get the latest weather information, latest forecasts, access to the radar, access to our shows on Fox 7 Austin, so we can send you the latest information about this winter storm heading for Texas, even if you lose power over the weekend. But bottom line, stay off the roads Saturday afternoon, late Saturday night, and first thing Sunday morning. Stay safe, stay warm, and stay weather aware.